Ted Conroy said in his review of your new book, and he was in town last week and has told me this several times. He said that I Still Dream About You is a love letter to Birmingham. Do you feel that's an accurate assessment?
That's what I tried to do. And I think it is. That's exactly what I was writing. People that have read the book, and I've talked to reviewers in London and in Scotland that are just fascinated because they never knew that Birmingham, number one, was hilly, and we had this beautiful English and architecture, and they're just fascinated with it. And so I wanted people to know the city and love it as much as I did. And so Birmingham is a character. I would have to say Birmingham is the main character in my book. And that's what I was trying to do. So if he says I did, he's very smart.
He was very complimentary and talked about you the whole time he was in London.
But he's wonderful.
If you would, we have a few questions from the audience. If you would
Love to.
be so kind.
Of course.
What is your favorite memory from match?
Here's my question. Who wrote that? My favorite memory. This is a running joke here. I'm trying to be serious often, and there I am sitting on the network with fried eggs on my I enjoy. My favorite memory was basically, I would have to say, every day that we would film 5 match games in one day, which a lot of people didn't know. We go in on a Saturday and we film 3 shows. And what would happen is between shows we'd go upstairs, change tops, and come back down. It was another day, but it really wasn't. And they change audiences. So we did three shows, and then they take a big dinner break. Well, the dinner break was about 2 hours, and Brett Summers and Charles Nelson Riley and Richard Dawson would hit those martinis. And on Thursday and Friday, Charles's toupee would be here. But my favorite memory was literally the everyday was just great fun, and everybody got along on that show. It's terrific. So I have to say my favorite memory is just every day. And let me defend myself. The reason I wore those silly shirts was, I started where I wore 1 or 2, and people sent me shirts. And that's why I wore them, because people would send them and they wanted to see them on television. That's why.
It's so controversial. Will the film Redbird Christmas be filmed in Alabama?
Yes, it better be, because he's from a Christmas book I wrote, also set in Alabama, in Magnolia Springs, Alabama. I'm sure some of you know where that is. It's right outside of Fairhope. And the gentleman that produced and directed Fried Green Tomatoes bought it. And I sold him the rights only if he promised to film it in Alabama, and he said yes.
This is one you're going to have to explain to me. Fannie, were you a purple or a gold when you were at Alabama College? Must be my Alabama. Billy Rush class in 1968.
Well, You know, I never went to Montebello. No, I didn't. A lot of people think I did. And you know why? I think a lot of people, because I'm from Alabama and she's from Alabama, have me mixed up with Holly Holiday. And I never went to Montebello. I went to the university. I am so glad that that question was asked because I went to the University of Alabama Extension Center here in Birmingham. I got on the streetcar and went to college. How beautiful. But I went there and I went there maybe a half a year. I didn't do well in that. But I was not valid. But I would have been a purple, I suppose.
What was your biggest obstacle to getting started as a writer?
The biggest obstacle basically was the fact that I couldn't spell. and honestly, I'm the luckiest human being in the world because the first job that professional job I got as a writer was on Candid Camera. And on Candid Camera, when you write for Candid Camera, you don't write it out. You sit in a room with a bunch of other people and you tell your ideas. So I was able to do that. And when I did comedy sketches on The Tonight Show or whatever, I would write them where I could read them and then memorize them. And I think it's so funny how somebody who's handicapped can sometimes turn around and just do you a world of good. I couldn't read, I'm nearsighted, I'm blind as a mole. I could never read the teleprompter, so I always had to ad-lib. So fortunately, having to ad-lib and not follow a script on television, I did very well on Candid Camera because it was all spontaneous, and on Match Game. There were no scripts. So that it all worked out very well. But I would say now, when you do they mean writing books or do they mean
writing books?
Okay, well, of course, my biggest obstacle was, and we will get serious here because I didn't know, because we didn't know back then that I was dyslexic, and I couldn't spell at all, nor could I do math. And we didn't know what the problem was, and I didn't know my left from my right. Dyslexia affects everybody differently. And one of the first things that happened when I was a little girl, my mother took me, and I'm sure there's some people here that might remember this, Natalie Levange School of Tap and Dance it was up downtown over the drugstore. She had a dance school up there. And my poor mother, she wanted me to be a tap dancer. And I got in the class, and they say, I can remember it to this day, shuffle ball chain, turn right. And I couldn't figure out which was right, and I always was late. And I really was not messed up the chorus. And Natalie called my mother, and she said, we're going to have to ask her to leave because she can't do this. And that was one clue. The other clue was I couldn't ride a bicycle because of a balance thing. And then the thing that really was shocking, or pretty shocking, was my name, I'm sure I forget, but some people here that might not know that Fannie Flagg is not my real name. My real name is Patricia Neal. And I was known as Patsy, little Patsy Neal. And I went to St. Clement's Grammar School. Not because we were Catholic, but we lived down the block. And I was in about the second or third grade, and the sister called my mother, and she said, she was giving a report, and she said, well, Mrs. Neal, Pasty is a sweet little girl.